The story you are about to watch or listen to forever changed how I see things and has built a strong belief in me. It was the festive season last year, and I had travelled to spend time with my grandma. She lives in a peaceful, rural community, tucked away from the noisy hustle of the city. Grandma, a devout Muslim, had been excited to host me, even though I wasn't used to the calmness of her world. Sunday morning arrived, and the urge to attend church hit me. I didn't want to miss worship, but Grandma, being Muslim, couldn't point me to any church around. "Just look around," she suggested. "There should be one nearby. It's Sunday. You'll hear them singing." I set out, walking along the dirt road and scanning the environment. I finally came across a church that seemed perfect. Its building was stunning, painted in white with tall stained glass windows that shimmered in the morning sun. The signboard read, "The Divine Temple of Eternal Light." I thought to myself, what a beautiful name for a church. As I stepped inside, all eyes turned to me. I felt their gazes burning into my skin, but I brushed it off. Maybe they're just curious about the new face, I thought, forcing a polite smile as I found a seat near the back. The service began, and something immediately felt off. The choir sang, but their voices didn't sound uplifting. It felt haunting. Then the woman who led the congregation stepped forward. She was dressed in a flowing white robe, her head wrapped in gold. The way people looked at her made me uneasy. They weren't just respectful, they were worshipping her. "Welcome to our sacred temple," she began in a silky voice. "I am your Savior, your Messiah, the one sent to redeem you." My heart skipped. Messiah. I looked around, hoping someone would laugh or protest, but everyone responded in unison, "Yes, Messiah!" Goosebumps rose on my arms. I whispered a prayer under my breath, my mind racing. What kind of church is this? It was then I noticed strange inscriptions on the walls. They weren't in English or any language I recognized. The symbols seemed alive, shimmering faintly, like they were whispering to one another. This can't be right, I thought. I glanced back at the woman on the altar, and what I saw nearly made me scream. Her face had changed, or maybe I was seeing her true form. Her head was no longer human. It was a massive python's head, with glowing red eyes that seemed to pierce my soul. I froze. My knees felt weak. Was I imagining this? No, I couldn't be. God had opened my spiritual eyes to see what others couldn't. I wanted to run, but my body felt glued to the pew. I whispered another prayer, louder this time. Suddenly, I felt a hand grip my shoulder tightly. I spun around, expecting to see someone trying to calm me down. Instead, what I saw made my blood run cold. It wasn't a person. It was a figure cloaked in darkness, its eyes two burning coals. It leaned closer to me, its breath icy against my skin. "You shouldn't have come here," it hissed. My legs finally obeyed me, and I bolted toward the exit. But the door wouldn't budge no matter how hard I pushed. The congregation was no longer sitting. They were all standing, chanting in that strange, guttural language, their eyes blank and lifeless. I screamed, banging on the door, praying with all the strength in me. And then, as suddenly as it all began, I felt the grip on my shoulder loosen. The door opened, and I tumbled out into the bright sunlight. I didn't look back. I ran straight home, heart pounding and tears streaming down my face. Grandma found me shaking on the floor, unable to speak. Since that day, I've never stepped into just any church. Some doors are better left unopened.